Hey everybody, it's your girl Planet Ty on deck. I hope you guys are having a great day, afternoon, and or evening whenever you guys are seeing this. So, if you guys are returning, welcome back. If you guys are new here, thank you so much for coming. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that you guys can be on deck for every time that I drop another video. Now today, for today's true crime case, I will be sharing the story of Anthony Tomaselli. Anthony Tomaselli lived a full life. He lived into the ripe age of 85 years old, but he could have lived longer if his death was not assisted by some of his loved ones. If you guys want to hear the information that I've put together about Anthony Tomaselli, all you guys got to do, stay tuned. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for being back on deck. Without further ado, I'm going to jump into this story time. Now, as always, I have my notes to the left of me so I can go ahead and recall the information that I put together for you all. All right, now let's get into it. So, Anthony Tomaselli was once the proud father of 3 kids. He has a daughter named Linda Tomaselli and another one named Mary Roberts, formerly Linda Tomaselli, but Mary Roberts. And he also has a son, but I cannot find his son's name in any of the articles that I wrote, so my assumption is that his son has probably asked to remain anonymous and did not want to be a part of his father's stories, he didn't want his name circulating in the media is what I'm assuming, and I can understand that completely. Now, the life that they lived was that of a full one, okay? They had a father. Not much is known about their mother, and I think the reason for that is because the story actually takes place when when Anthony's daughters, Linda and Mary, are already almost in their 60s, okay? So there was a lot of stuff that has happened, over the years prior to this all coming to our attention for true crime methods, okay? True crime purposes, rather. So anyhow, but different reports did suggest that Anthony and his daughters and his son, they led a full life together as a family when they were, all together. That, of course there was pretty much the stuff that you can expect in any typical family. There's the laughter, there's the fond memories, there's the tears, there's the fights, there's the, special dinner night, there's the, just about anything that you can think about in normal families. Like, we all have things that make us tick and things, So their family was no different in that regard. So they had all that stuff kind of growing up, right? But now, as time went on and the girls turned into women and their father got older, his health began to fade. So, reports suggest that he had different things going on with him where he was no stranger to the hospital, okay? There was allegedly issues with his heart, complications with his heart, and that he had to take different medications for other physical and or mental ailments that he was experiencing. And so, he was no stranger to the hospital, to the emergency room, and he had, different medications that he took in rotation. And as time went on, his daughters started making sure that he was the one that, that he was taking his assigned medication on time. So they had a lot. So it's almost like when a child turns into the parent of their parent, if that makes sense, right? So, you live long enough, and once the kids that you see that you've raised into adulthood and they're not grown, and now the parent is, going back into traits where, they were once a child they needed help with, So now it's the children's time to step up and to kind of help their parents along the way. Well, it was the time for Linda and Mary to step up and to help their father out. So they would give him his medicine on time. They would make sure that he was eating and everything of that sort. So all this is going on, just regular, normal life for the ladies and their father. Until August of 2015, Mary, she went out to a bar and she was having a good time, and she met this guy. Now, the guy she met, none of the reports that I saw listed the guy's name. And I'm almost certain that because of what happened later on in the story, he deliberately did not attach his name to any information to the police or anything like that, because he did not want his name to be public. Okay, so she met this man. She's at a bar. She's having a good time. They're talking, they're having some drinks, just regular adult conversation. Excuse me. And at some point, they become comfortable with each other, whether they exchange phone numbers and decide to start talking outside of the bar. They talk outside of the bar for some time, and then they become intimate. Now, the duration of time does not seem like a long time. It did not give the specified amount of time that they talked before they moved it outside of the bar and became intimate, but that could be for various reasons. Everybody has different intentions and motives when they go to bars. Some people go to bars just because they want drinks. Some people go because they want other people to buy them drinks. And then some people go because they want some adult company, if you will. So it's really no telling exactly what the initial motive was for what either of them wanted for each other. But it does say that, as some time went on, she, Mary and this gentleman, they exchanged numbers, they hung out outside of the bar, and then they became intimate at some point. So, her life had been, somewhat of just regular mundane type lifestyle before that. The responsibilities of dealing with her father. And then also Mary has a grown daughter who's 41 years old. And I believe her daughter is self-sufficient at this point and not dependent on her mother for help, not primary help or resources, but she's in her life for sure. And then, so her life was just pretty mundane. She's looking after her father along with her sister Linda. She's taking care of herself because she's also an older woman, right? Her previous love life was not disclosed in any of the articles that I read. So I don't know if she's, previously married and all this other stuff or not. But I just, at the point that she met this guy, she was single. So her life took somewhat of an exciting turn when she met the guy, right? Like things seemingly picked up some. So a short while after Mary met this guy, she introduced him to her sister, Linda. Now, this is where things became a little bit more interesting, okay? So Linda meets the guy, and they're all talking, and they're all socializing. And then at some point, for whatever reason, there's a detour made, and the guy who was once intimate with Mary is now also intimate with Linda, her sister. Now, I didn't see anything in the reports that said if Mary was aware that he was intimate with Linda, if she initiated it, if she was okay with it. Now, I don't think that Mary and this guy were like completely exclusive, because I didn't see anything in any report that said that Mary and this guy were just exclusive, right? But at the same time, I'm just thinking, just from the outside looking in, I wonder if Mary had a problem with this guy. I met you, I introduced you to my sister. Are you screwing her now? Like, what's up with that? Or did she not, did she meet him and on some sisterly love stuff decided I'm my sister's keeper and we both needed a little touch up, so I guess it's okay for you to touch her up too? I don't know. I don't know if that's the way the story went, but, this is what the articles are suggesting, So I question that anyhow, if that was the case. But so, yeah, the guy, he became intimate with Linda as well. And so now he's hanging out with both of the ladies, not at the same time, not from my understanding, just at different times. Mary takes him over, says, hey, Linda, this is my friend Blank. And then at some point, Blank and Linda go off and start doing their own thing. Well, when they did their own thing, Linda became a little bit too comfortable with Mr. Blank, because she divulged information that it would have probably been a lot better for her if she would have just kept to herself. However, it turned out to be a good thing that she kind of let loose, because it helped to solve some information that the authorities wanted to know. So, so those two, they hit it off. They start sneaking around. And then not long after the man came into Linda's life, Linda began telling him how her father haunted her in her dreams, right? The man stated that Linda told him that she felt very uncomfortable in the same room as her father. Now, when he questioned her and was like, what do you mean by that? Why would you say you feel uncomfortable with your father? And she was like, he makes her afraid. And she was like, and the guy was like, well, why does he make you afraid? I mean, previously, when you and I talked about your father, you told me about how you loved him so much, or you love him so much, and how he's such a wonderful man. Why are you now telling me that he makes you afraid? What has he done since then that would make you so afraid? Well, when Linda didn't have a direct answer for him, it made him very suspicious. Now, you guys at home, light up the comments and let me know. If you were with a lover and they start telling you conflicting information about a relative of theirs, whether it be their father, their mother, or a sibling, or uncle, cousin, whoever the case. If they started telling you conflicting information about a family member of theirs, would you question, why did they tell you at all? Or would you question, like, where would all this be coming from? Like, would you confront them about that? Light up the comments and let me know your thoughts, because sometimes people won't say anything, they'll just say, oh, okay, well, this person said that and now they're saying that. They might just write off and say, well, hell, they're a liar. Maybe they're just lying today, maybe they were really lying the other day. Who knows? Who gives a hot damn? They may do something like that. But light up the comments and let me know, what do you think you would do if you felt that somebody you were seeing starts telling you very conflicting stories about a loved one? Right? Now, so when the guy questioned Linda, she didn't have an answer for him, which just made him more curious and made him more inquisitive to want to know and get to the bottom of, what's up, Linda? Why did you bring this here thing up if you're going to change the story? So things got a lot more interesting later when Linda, she invited the guy over one night. So she told Mr. Blank, come over. I'd like to see you. I'd like to spend some time with you. And so he's like, okay, he's no stranger to her house. He had already been there before. So he's thinking she's invited him over on some same typical stuff. Now, whether the typical stuff was, we would say Netflix and chill, who knows? But, or was it for dinner and wine? Who knows? Or just a conversation, right? Who knows? But he took her up on the offer and he came over. Now, when he got there, the two began talking for a period of time, and that somewhere in the conversation, it took a different turn when Linda told him, quote, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to tell you, she said, quote, I killed my father. Right? Now, from the time she would have dropped the bomb on, I don't know, because we never really know what we do in a case like that. Like, nobody does. We can speculate, oh my God, I think I would do this, I think I would do that, but nobody really knows what you would do. But I couldn't imagine if a guy told me, boom, I killed my father. Yeah, my next thing would be, do you still feel like killing, or is it going to be okay for me to get out of here? Because I'm going to need to get out of there if you've done something like that. Like, yeah, I know it's no laughing matter, but seriously, I'm going to need to get away from you if you told me you've done something like that, right? So imagine what this guy's thinking. She just told him. And also keep in mind, guys, she told him because she felt comfortable confiding in him that she took these steps. That was the reason why she told him. She felt comfortable enough, confided in him, all right? The two had spent some time together. This was not their immediate first encounter. They had talked on the phone. They had already been intimate. And you guys know when you're intimate with somebody, you share that energy with them. It's an exchange of energy, whether you want to accept it or not. You do exchange energy with somebody once you're intimate with him. So I guess she felt very comfortable that the person who she was confiding to was going to be able to accept what she said and just allow it to be what it was, right? Now, that wasn't the case. So Mr. Blank, he took out his cell phone from his pocket and he started recording her. He started recording, you press recording to record video and audio. So anytime somebody would see the video, any parts of her house that the camera went to while he was recording, it clearly showed that it was in Linda's house. And her voice is on the recording. So if you have video and audio, well, that's evidence, right, of who said what and where they were when they said it. So that's what he began to do. So as Linda started confessing, the guy, he thought that, she's just going to lay this thing out on him. And she already started. He was surprised by what she said, but he was like, he thought that was just going to be it. But things got more interesting for him. And he got a little bit more than what he bargained for when she included, well, we did it. Okay. So not that she killed her father, but we killed our father. And the we that she was speaking of was her and her sister, Mary. Now, Mary was the first woman who Mr. Blank met at the bar. Remember, he met Mary first. He and Mary started talking. He and Mary had drinks. He and Mary hung out. He and Mary were intimate. Then Mary brought him to her sister, Linda. Okay, so Mary, she never told this guy any of this. Okay, perhaps she had a different understanding where, oh, okay, you meet someone and you decide, okay, this person belongs in that box. Maybe he was in that box for her. That box where you can hang out and have a good time, but I'm not going to tell you my secrets type thing. Well, I think that's the box she put him in. She wasn't going to tell him her secrets. And it would have been good for Linda if she would have followed suit, but somehow she didn't. And it was actually better for how it turned out for everything else that happens down the line. Now, when Linda told him that the sister she was speaking of was Mary, the only suspected motive for the women killing their father at that time was that they felt that their father was going to be a big burden onto them. Now, the lady's father is 85 years old when he passed away. So these women were almost in their 60s when this happened. Both of them were. Now the father, and I said earlier in this video how he was no stranger to the hospital. And, to the hospital, even to the emergency rooms and stuff like that. And there was medications and everything else that he was required to take. So I guess they felt in their later years that they did not want to do for their father what he assumingly done for them when they were young. And I say assumingly because I didn't read any reports that said that Mr. Tomaselli, had taken care of the girls throughout their entire childhood or anything else like that. But giving him the benefit of the doubt, assuming that he did, right? What a small price to pay to say, okay, I've done this thing for you, and now, the shoe's on the other foot, and I need you to show me some love and support as well. Well, from my understanding, the women were there for their father for a period of time. I guess at some point they just decided they were tired of it, and they didn't want to do it anymore. They didn't. They felt like it was too much of a burden for them to continue to be the immediate care for their father. And at some point they had a conversation where their father acknowledged that he knew that he didn't have, all that much time left. He also knew that. And he also mentioned to the women that he did not want to be in a not retirement home, into what do they call that? Assistant living home. He did not want to spend his last days in an assistant living home. Now, me personally, I can relate to him. I can relate to that completely because I would not want to be amongst strangers either. Just thinking that, when it's our time to go, we never know. But I definitely would not want to be amongst strangers. I would rather be amongst people who I loved and who at least I would believe love me. And I'm sure his kids loved him in their own way, as well. But I'm sure that was his comfort zone. He would rather be amongst family and friends. You guys light up the comments and let me know if you guys would prefer to be, in an assistant living home when you're much older up there in age, or would you prefer to be amongst family and friends? Light up the comments and weigh in, okay? Because some people say, I'd rather be away in assistant living because I wouldn't want to be a burden onto my family. But I don't really see it like that. I kind of feel like the family love needs to stay together, But you guys light up the comments and let me know your thoughts, okay? So, they expressed that they were, just fed up with caring for their father, okay? But it's also unclear to me. Now, this is something else that's unclear to me. It's unclear to me why the unnamed man decided to share what he heard with the local authorities, right? Because to me, I question if he had an angle in spilling the newfound information that he obtained, right? Now, could it have had anything to do with him perhaps trying to proposition one of the sisters over against the other in any kind of way? And when it didn't work, perhaps he decided, to take what he learned to the police. And keep in mind, I should say that no reports that I've read, or no police reports, no articles or nothing ever suggested that. This is only 100% me speculating, because I really do question, even if you did come across some information like that, what would be your in to go run and tell it? Based on what? Right? Like, what's the reason for you putting yourself in that? One of the only things that I can think of is because when Linda shared that information with Mr. Blank, she actually made him an accomplice to her father's murder. Now, pending the fact that it was found out later that her father, was murdered, and if they found out that Mr. Blank knew about it, then yes, it would make him an accomplice if he decided not to go to the police. So that is reason that's reason to go ahead and share what you know. But aside of that, I really don't think that it would be a big reason for me to say, oh my God, somebody's told me this horrible thing, and although I know it's horrible, I'm going to go share it immediately. So I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts on that one. Okay. But I do always wonder, somebody else's motive for sharing information that they obtained secondhand. Like, what is your end in this, right? So after that, in 2015, Anthony Tomaselli stopped breathing. His 2 grown daughters tried to resuscitate him until paramedics arrived. His own doctor ruled that the 85-year-old man died of natural causes due to his age and health problems. Now, here's the messed up thing about that. Because he was a frequent visitor of the hospital, and his doctor knew that he had many health problems that were age associated, okay? He did not, his doctor failed him in the last part of his life, because his doctor did not insist on an autopsy. What his doctor said was, yeah, he's had a lot of health problems. We don't think anything out of the ordinary even could have possibly have been wrong because of his age and because of his known health problems. We're assuming that his death must have just been based on natural causes. Okay. Now, Tomaselli's daughters actually conspired to kill him. In 2015, the sheriff said they almost got away with it until they both became romantically involved with the same man. The man, Mr. Blank, he went and he told detectives that Linda started acting odd. He also said it was clear that something was troubling her. So on February the 12th, Linda called the unidentified man to her home, and she admitted to him that she euthanized her father. Okay, so everything that she said to this guy, Mr. Blank, he went right ahead and he told the authorities. He told the sheriff's office, and he even gave them the recording and video recording of everything that she said. And then it makes a part of me wonders, though, did he ever even care for these women at all, like even on a friend level, right? Because I'm thinking, if he did, even at all, would he even question himself a little bit as to, would he, if he cared about him, would he immediately just run immediately to the sheriff and say, look what information I have, and look what they did, look what horrible people they are, right? Or would he try to give them a chance to talk to them about why did they do something so dire? What, to try to get to the bottom of it? I don't know. I'm just curious. But anyways, you guys always weigh in and let me know what you guys think. Now, the 2 sisters knew their father's days were coming to an end. And like I said before, Anthony, their father, had already said he did not want to be put in assisted living. But sheriff said the ladies decided to take the matters in their own hands. They plotted to make it look like he died in his sleep at his home in Palm Harbor, right? Now, the detective said the women gave their father an alcoholic beverage laced with an excessive amount of sleeping pills, hoping it would kill him. Mary put too much alcohol in the drink. And the sheriff said because she put so much alcohol in the drink with the sleeping pills, she diluted the sleeping pills down so much that they became ineffective. Okay. Now, public service announcement, please don't even dare to think about trying any of this at home. It is dangerous. Okay. Now, their father, he laid on the couch, still moving, with labored breathing. So even after they gave him this alcoholic beverage, with the sleeping pills, he laid on the couch, he was still alive, but he had labored breathing, right? So his daughters, they took a even more so gruesome step when they tried to suffocate him with a pillow. Okay. And when that didn't work, they held down his arms, grabbed a rag, shoved it down his throat, and pinched his nose, the sheriff said. Finally, their father stopped breathing. Throughout the incident, Mary's 41-year-old grown daughter was upstairs asleep. Her mother had also given her sleeping pills so that she wouldn't wake up during the scheme. The next morning, on March the 6th, 2015, paramedics raced to the home, and after failing to revive Anthony, they pronounced Anthony Tomaselli dead at 5:50 a.m. Deputies arrived soon afterward and interviewed the 2 daughters separately. Both said the same thing. Their father fell asleep on the couch, and when they went to check on him, he wasn't breathing. So they performed CPR and called 911. Now, the thing about it is, this is a crazy case in this way. These women, not that they needed to, because they should not have, they needed to be brought to justice. They could have got away with this crime, you guys. The police believed them. They believed them because their father had an extensive medical history where he had a lot of health problems and everything else like that. So the police, they had no reason to question them. And the daughters had been taking care of their father, giving him medicine, feeding him, taking him to and from appointments and all that. So the police had no suspicious reason, no reason to be suspicious of these ladies with foul play at all. The reason why they got caught was strictly because when the sister Mary went to the bar and met that stranger, she brought him to meet her sister. Her sister went ahead and, like she said, I guess her father had been haunting her in her dreams, her father's spirit. Basically, she wasn't able to rest based on what she did. She knew she was wrong. She knew that she absolutely should not have taken the step that she did to kill her own father, okay? So when she started getting haunted in her dreams, to relieve herself, she confided in this guy who she believed to be friend / whatever she believed him to be. And she put all her fruit in the wrong basket, so to speak. So that's how this all kind of came out. Now, deputies learned about their father's lengthy medical history. His longtime doctor agreed that Anthony had died of natural causes, and the doctor signed his death certificate saying that he died of natural causes. But the deputies had been misled, you guys. The daughters now say that they faked the whole story. They staged finding their father's body. They staged performing CPR and the calling of 911, all of that, because they already knew that they had killed him. Okay? After their father's death, Mary, Linda, and their brother, who deputies said had no role in the plot, they sold their father's Palm Harbor home, and the three siblings split $120,000 in profit. Now, based on the other, they should have, I don't know, I just think they should have felt too guilty to dare take any of the proceeds of their father's home. You know, guilt should have been there to take over them. You know, I don't know, but maybe all the proceeds should have went to the brother who didn't try to kill him. But anyhow, when deputies questioned the daughters, the sheriff said they both confessed. He also highlighted that Mary in particular spilled her guts. Not only did she confess, she told everything from A to Z with very minimal probing. She just volunteered. And I really think that was really her guilt just eating her up, because again, they knew that they were absolutely wrong for the actions that they decided to take. Now, the sisters, they use words such as premeditated and euthanized several times in their interviews with the investigators and in the recording with the unidentified man, the sheriff said. Both sisters were booked in the Pinellas County Jail in Florida. Linda, 64 years old, was sentenced to 20 years in prison, and Mary Beth, 65, after offering to testify against her sister Linda, was sentenced to 15 years in prison. So come to think about it, at the ages that they were when they were caught, their father passed away at 85. Okay, Linda's 64 with 20 years. She would be 84 years old, just a year younger than her father, pending the facts that she even survives. So it's like, you know, that karma came quick and swift to what's going to happen back, right? And then the other sister, Mary Beth, 65 in the next 20 years, she would be 85, the exact same age as her father, you know, for when they took him out. So karma was quick and swift in this case, I suppose. Anyways, that's all that I have for this case today. And I thank you guys so much for being on deck and rocking with me. If you guys have any show ideas, go ahead and check the links in my description for my email and my Instagram. Hit me in my DMs and let me know what's on your mind about what story you would like me to cover. Well, thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Like I always say, there's always another story to be told. But for now,